Hey everyone, it's May and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing Tarja's fourth album, technically albums, The Brightest Void and Shadow Self. This was released in 2016. The Brightest Void is technically the prequel album to The Shadow Self. Basically, she just had a bunch of extra songs and she really wanted to release all of them. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you haven't seen my other videos, I have already gone through My Winter Storm, What Lies Beneath, and Colors in the Dark. I thought about trying to do like the iconic makeup from this album, but I know myself and I suck at makeup if you haven't already realized that. I finally figured out how to do wings, at least kind of. Like before I was like doing them way too much up, and now I like realize they're supposed to go out to the side. So yeah, it's like little improvements, you know? But I just didn't trust myself to do that. So anyway, the inspiration for the name The Shadow Self came from when Tarja was listening to this interview by a Scottish singer named Annie Lennox, when she said we all have a darker side or the shadow self inside of all of us. And at that point I think she already started writing some of the songs. She hadn't actually had that title in mind. She said it was the first time in writing these songs that she didn't have the title ahead of time. Her working title was just Black, which I still think she's probably going to come out with an album called Black at some point. I just feel like she will. But then she was like, oh, that's actually really cool. And that's why she decided to call it The Shadow Self. That's where a lot of the inspiration comes from. So these are definitely concept albums. Everything kind of relates back to that theme. She said that that shadow self, like everyone has that kind of darker side, and that's where we get a lot of like creative inspiration from. And we need to like make peace with that side of us. The Brightest Void, she said, is supposed to represent more the light aspect of the yin and yang, and the shadow self is supposed to be more the dark, but really sound-wise the songs are very similar, she said, but she had reasons for putting them where they were on one album or the other. She said she really wanted to have a band feeling in the songs, like that heavy rock band kind of a feel, and musically I feel like this is kind of continuing with the more experimental sound and just the move from Colors in the Dark and the movie soundtrack kind of vibes. Some of the composers that she worked with have also worked on movie scores that she talked about. I like watched all of her track by track interviews for both of the albums. And just on a personal level, this was the first album release that I actually experienced. Like I remember when this came out, oh, I actually had it. I meant to show it when I was when I was saying it, because I don't own all of her albums, but I do own this one. And I got it and I was so excited, and I remember it like actually coming out in 2016. I was a senior in high school at that point. So let's get into it. We will do The Brightest Void first. So the first song on The Brightest Void is No Bitter End, and she said this is actually the last song that was written for the album. Her guitar player Alex had this idea for a riff, and I gave her the idea for the song and she kind of developed it from there. And I think it was the first single that was released because I specifically remember like this song like holds good memories for me, just because I remember coming home from high school one day and knowing that she was dropping like the music video, and I was like super excited, and I had it playing, and I was like checking my email and I found out that I got into the honors program at the college I had applied for, which I ended up going to that college and then I dropped the honors program later, but you know, that aside, that was really good memory because I was so happy, and then I was just like jamming out to the song. But I would say overall this definitely isn't one of my favorites, but it's definitely one that I like. I don't know how to explain this, like I'm not trying to diss the song, but I just feel like it's definitely one of the more commercial of her songs in general, and it makes sense that she would release that as the first single because it's catchy and it's easy to listen to, so it draws in a wider audience, when most of the songs on her albums are like anything but. Like they're very experimental and just different sounding. I would say Never Enough would be kind of that same idea from Colors in the Dark. It's a pretty simple melody and has kind of those sections that are repeated, and it's catchy, and I feel like that just kind of appeals to a wider audience, and then hopefully if they listen to that then they'll actually kind of get into her music more. If that makes sense? I don't know, but that's kind of how I think of it. It doesn't mean that it's a bad song, I just don't think it's as like complex as some of the other ones on here, and it's definitely still, you know, a jam. And if we take a look at the lyrics, I pulled everything up here. The first verse says, desire is a flame alive when dreams are far away. Open up your inner eye, let hope save the day. She will follow for you, make the rain shine anew, will make the path for you to take, till the end walk you through. Time won't wait, lead your fate, never let go. And then the chorus says, black out the sun, light nowhere, tell me you don't need it anymore, no bitter end. Hold on, don't run, forever still yourself, go on, no bitter end. So we definitely have the black or dark aspect in the chorus when it says black out the sunlight nowhere. Kind of interesting. I really don't know what to make of a lot of lyrics on this album. I tried to like make connections and stuff, and I was actually just thinking about the fact that I think it was it in Deliverance? Yeah. If anyone has an answer to this, or like, not an answer, but just like speculations, I would love to know like who the random like she is in her songs in places. Like in Calling Grace, it's in third person, but I really thought that that was like actually about her. But in Deliverance, it's in first person, but then it says I'm always home with her as a shield. And then in this song, she will follow for you. When I was listening to that song, I always thought it said she will fall all over you. I have so many misheard lyrics. I could do an entire video on the misheard lyrics. That's what it sounds like. And sometimes these lyrics are actually wrong. I'm just going off of what's on Google lyrics, but sometimes those are like not right. No, wait, no. When I go to AZ lyrics, it says she will fall all over you. No, that's right. I was not mishearing that because that makes sense. Like rain, shine anew. Like fall over you like rain, okay? Don't trust Google. Anyway, so I'm just wondering like who, if it's like an entity, just like Grace in general, like who is that supposed to be, or just like a mythical kind of creature? I don't know. Like I don't think that she necessarily like writes all the songs from like her point of view. Like I think it's just could be like a character or something. I don't know, but I would be curious to know what people think of that. A lot of her songs like in one way or another just go back to like following your dreams, and I think we see that here. Desire is a flame alive when dreams are far away, like when that's all you have, like desire can lead you to that, and then this she will make a path for you to take until the end, walk you through. So maybe it's like inspiration or something. I don't know. When it says time won't wait, lead your fate, never let go. Time's not gonna wait for you. You have to follow your dreams now. Lead your fate. Don't rely on fate. Just do what you want to do and lead your fate to where you want it to go. Yeah. That's what I got from that. And then track 2 is Your Heaven and Your Hell with Michael Monroe. She was a judge with him on The Voice of Finland. I think they actually knew each other before that. This is definitely one of my least favorite songs of hers, and I'm not saying it's a bad song, it's just not for me. It is way too like hard rock in your face for my taste. But with the lyrics, it's kind of talking about how we have to take control of our lives and not kind of blame other entities for what does or doesn't happen to us, especially when it says it ain't no divine intervention, you make your own heaven and your hell. So it's basically just telling us that we have the control, like we have the power to make choices that affect our lives, and it's not necessarily something else doing that for us, is at least what I get from the lyrics there. And then track 3 is Eagle Eye. I love this one, and it is on the Shadow Self as well, but it's a different arrangement, and she said she had different musicians playing it, and it's a different rhythm, kind of like the guitar and bass or whatever in the background is different, and I really prefer the Brightest Void version. Let me know if you guys have a preference. Like I usually actually don't really hear a difference in the mixes, like we'll get to that with a later song, but I heard a difference for sure, and I remember hearing it on the Shadow Self and I was like no, the Brightest Void, because when I heard the song on the Brightest Void I was like, oh my god, I love this. And the best way I can describe it is that it just feels like it moves forward more, like it's more driving on this one, and you know, that's just my preference. But this is kind of the beginning of, I feel like, what she really developed on these albums, which is her vocals just soaring over the music is the best way I can describe it. It's just what I hear as a sound that she really developed on this album, and I'll kind of point out where I hear it, but this is definitely one of those songs where it just soars. Like the whole song is soaring, but especially the vocals, and it's just beautiful. And her brother Tony is doing the male vocals in it as well. And to me it seems to be about breaking free from something that has been overbearing, like when it says I found a way to feel alive, leaving behind your eagle eye, kind of gives Falling Awake vibes conceptually, because you know I'm always gonna bring things back to All Lies Beneath. Just the way the song progresses is just so cool, the way the different melodies intertwine. And the bridge says, over the land that we have seen, where the wind swept our hearts clean, when we have burned so deep within, rest the ashes, then begin. I'm not saying that like she intentionally had things connect with lyrics on her different albums, but I just like connecting them. The ashes is something that we saw on My Winter Storm with the Phoenix, and I think actually later in that album too. Yeah, it was in My Little Phoenix and Minor Heaven. I guess it wasn't ashes, it was flames in My Little Phoenix, and then it was ashes in Minor Heaven. Rose again from the flames, My Little Phoenix, and then in Minor Heaven, I should know the lyrics to this by heart, but let's just double check. Light a way for me to walk on from the ashes to the sky. And in this song, it's talking about like when we have burned so deep within with kind of the desire to do something, I guess. I don't know, like rest the ashes of either what you were doing before, what was holding you back, and then begin with what you wanted to do. That's how it could be taken, I guess. And then track 4 is An Empty Dream. This was a song that she was asked to sing for a movie, and she liked it, but she wanted to change a couple things about it to do her own arrangement of it, like change some of the lyrics and the melodies, and the film director agreed with her and let her do that, and that is the product that we have on the album. There's also a movie version, I think, that I haven't listened to in a while, but I think that one's a little bit different, and there's a music video for this as well. I love this song. It is so haunting and just beautiful. Both the lyrics and the music are just amazing. It very vaguely gives me Two for Tragedy vibes with the lyrics, like vaguely. It's like longing for someone that maybe's already there, and I haven't seen the movie so it might have something to do with it, but it's like trying to reach someone, like you've lost the connection and you're trying to reach for someone to regain what you had, kind of. Like the chorus says, I wish to reach your heart, life is just an empty dream, we will never be apart, take me home forever. The second verse says like, today you have my soul, who is who in this puppetry, lost our connection, feelings I once knew, crying for meaning, all alone, the death for two. When at the end of the first verse it says, our love, the tears for two. And so it kind of connects there, and then it just repeats the chorus, but I don't know, very interesting, and yeah, I love it. And track 5 is Witch Hunt. This pretty much continues the vibes from An Empty Dream right into the next song. It's pretty much the same, what I would say, kind of song. It's like slower and just kind of like a haunting melody. The lyrics are very dark, and I wasn't really sure what to make of them. The only thing I could kind of think of is something about politicians, because she said that Shameless was about politicians, so I was like, maybe there's something on this too. This was written much earlier and she'd been performing it live before she did the studio version, but still, I don't know. It says, you seek to blame, condemn the name, bewitch the masses with your own veil, without remorse you seek the ones trespassing lines you don't understand. So that kind of just made me think of it could potentially be about corrupt politicians or something. And then track 6 is Shameless. This one's very upbeat, very heavy. I like it, but it just gets a little bit too, again, like in your face for me, which is definitely just a personal preference, but something about when it gets to like the end of the second chorus, it's just like really dissonant sounding, and I just don't really like it anymore. But it definitely is like a catchy and fun song, and she said in the track by track video that this is about corrupt politicians that are making decisions that affect our lives that probably shouldn't be. I used to think that it's just my imagination. I hear you through the tale day and night. Just you here shifted it into the desperation. Are we accepting this without a fight? You well know how much your words deceive. You well know how much you need. I thought, again, I'm not sure if I'm mishearing the lyrics. I'm on A to Z lyrics with this. I actually thought it was you all know, but it could be you well know how much. Does this have lyrics in it? Because this would be actually accurate. Hold on, everyone. Oh wait, this is on the Brightest Void. I don't think it would be in here. Yeah, see, no, that's just for the shadow self. But anyway, I thought it was, you all know how much you need us to believe, not I still believe. And then the chorus says, take me there where our wisest are heard, take me anywhere, then I won't feel this fear. All I see is, I see through my eyes, the truth is shameless lies. You get away with steel in through your dedication. These lyrics are just weird, like this seems off. Maybe I shouldn't even be reading this. See, this says you need us to believe. If I go to a different website, I don't know. Or Genius lyrics so far seems the most right. It says, you well know how much you need us to believe. And then the second verse, you get away with stealing through your dedication. Poker face towards the sleeping crowds. After killing, there is A Huge Temptation, The Art of Mastering the Abusive Crown. So this definitely, to me, like, that is for sure about, like, corrupt politicians. And then track 7 is House of Wax, which is a Paul McCartney cover, and while Poison is my favorite, like, upbeat, like, fun cover that she's done, I think this is my overall favorite because it just suits her voice so well, and it's, oh my gosh, it just sounds so dark and haunting, which is kind of the theme of this album, it seems like. And she said that she used a lot of cello to kind of have that dark sound in it. Just, it's so beautiful. And this, we'll get into this more with the other songs. This is really the only time when she uses her chest voice that I can honestly say it doesn't bother me at all. I feel really bad saying this, but like overall I'm really not a huge fan of it, and this is the first album where she actually uses it a little bit here and there in the studio versions of songs, but she started using it more and more live, and I'm just personally not a huge fan of it, like especially when she sings songs that she used to sing all in her head voice, like mixing her chest voice in, and like it just sounds wrong because that's not how it's supposed to sound. But with this, when you hear it a little bit, I just think it really works. And then track 8 is Goldfinger, which is a James Bond cover, has more of those, you know, cinematic vibes. Another fun one, very atmospheric, and she does use her chest voice in this one as well. And then track 9 is Paradise, What About Us, which she collaborated on with Within Temptation. Amazing song, perfect, like the best collaboration ever, like I love it so much. And this is her like mix of it, and I've listened to Paradise like I don't even know how many times, like so many times, and I really can't hear a difference. So like I said, I'm really not good at hearing like how things are mixed differently, like I guess my ear just isn't trained that well, but yeah, I really couldn't hear that much of a difference, and I've literally listened to the like original Within Temptation version like a million times, so I don't know, but like that was cool that she wanted to do that and put it on the album, and I'm sure it sounded different to her, but it really didn't sound different to me.